What if I told you that the biggest financial crisis of your life could actually be the beginning of a miracle? I know it sounds strange to hear this in the midst of a suffocation, when bills pile up and hope slips through the cracks. But I've been there. Owing more than I earned, living on the fly, and thinking God had forgotten me. It was right then, in the chaos, that something began to change. Instead of seeking miraculous solutions in the world, I decided to open the Bible with sincerity. And there, between chapters and verses, I found answers no one had given me. Practical principles that cleared my mind, strengthened my spirit, and organized my financial life. I began to see money as a tool, not a burden. I discovered the value of a firm spiritual foundation, an eternal purpose, and a new way of thinking. In this video, I'll share the 10 principles that changed everything. They're not hard and fast rules or empty promises. They're paths that require faith, awareness, and action. It's about learning to listen to God's direction even when it defies logic. It's about sowing with courage, using money wisely, and breaking patterns that keep you stuck. If you apply these principles with an open heart, your financial life will never be the same. Before asking for more money, we need to stop and ask, what have I been doing with what I've already received? Many pray for abundance, but don't prepare to manage it. Economic wisdom is the first step toward escaping suffocation and moving toward a financial miracle. When you understand that money is a tool, not an end in itself, your relationship with it changes completely. The key is to seek understanding before multiplication. The Bible makes it clear, with all you possess, acquire wisdom. This is what made Solomon one of the most prosperous men in history. He didn't ask for riches, he asked for discernment. And that transformed everything. When we begin to apply divine wisdom to our daily lives, whether at the supermarket, in our debts, or in our dreams, doors begin to open, because we are ready to use them purposefully. If you feel financially lost today, your first cry should be for clarity. Ask God for guidance, study, and read books like Secrets of the Millionaire Mind or The Richest Man in Babylon. Make room for new ideas and abandon habits that keep you stuck. When you position yourself with maturity, heaven responds. And the first step on this new journey begins with the phrase, I am prepared to receive heavenly discernment. God doesn't bless confusion. If there's disorganization in finances, routines, and priorities, it's difficult to see growth. Spiritual structure begins when you understand that planning is an act of faith. It's not about controlling everything, but about showing that you're ready to receive more. Just as you can't build a house on sand, you can't build prosperity without a firm foundation. The book of Proverbs advises us to know the state of our sheep, that is, our possessions, accounts, and resources. Being clear about what's coming in and what's going out isn't an obsession, it's divine wisdom in action. Many pray for abundance, but don't know where what they already have is leaking. Organizing your budget is as spiritual as praying. It's a way of honoring what God has already entrusted to you. Creating a spreadsheet, recording your expenses, setting purposeful goals, all of this is part of the framework that supports the financial miracle. Don't underestimate small beginnings. When you demonstrate that you take good care of the little things, you make room for more. Order attracts blessings. And the declaration that can guide your new habit is, today I begin to organize my resources wisely. Often, what holds us back isn't a lack of effort, but a hesitation to act when God has already shown the way. Obedience can open doors that human effort can't reach. It's like when you feel an intuition to do something and, even without fully understanding it, decide to take the first step. This act of faith unleashes financial and spiritual miracles. In the book of Proverbs, we learn that trusting and acknowledging God in all our ways allows Him to direct our path. This means acting even when human logic makes no sense. How many times have we postponed important decisions out of fear or doubt, when God had already asked us to move forward? It is through action, guided by divine trust, that we break down barriers and renew our prosperous mindset. So, don't wait until you understand everything before taking action. Try this phrase: I will act with faith even without fully understanding. Start with small but firm steps. Whether it's paying off a debt, organizing a document, or finding a new source of income. The important thing is to move in the right direction, because obedience brings results that effort alone cannot achieve. No matter how much money comes into your life, if it's not used wisely, there will be no true prosperity. The secret lies in managing it with purpose and awareness. Spending without direction is like trying to fill a leaky bucket. When you learn to use money in alignment with your values and divine guidance, it begins to yield much more than expected. The Bible already warned that the wise save part of what they earn, while the foolish consume everything without thinking about the future. This teaches us that money should be an instrument for an eternal purpose, not just a means for immediate gratification. Controlling spending, investing wisely, and prioritizing what truly matters are attitudes that reflect a prosperous mindset. For those looking to take the first step, a practical tip is to list your monthly expenses and identify what can be cut or adjusted to direct resources toward projects that bring growth and positive impact. Repeat the phrase, "My resources have a purpose and divine guidance." This way, money stops being a problem and becomes an ally in the journey of debt relief and building a meaningful life. Giving when everything seems scarce is one of the most challenging acts of faith, but also one of the most powerful for those seeking debt relief and prosperity. The Bible shows that the generous soul will prosper, and this is not only a spiritual comfort, it's a practical law that applies to financial life. Sowing with courage means believing in the return, even when the present demands caution. But sowing isn't just about money. It can involve time dedicated to helping someone, words of encouragement, or sharing knowledge that transforms lives. Each such action is a seed planted with an eternal purpose, creating a solid spiritual foundation for miracles to unfold. Conscious generosity opens invisible doors and creates connections that build. If you find it difficult to give in difficult times, start small. Donate something that doesn't compromise your survival, but that demonstrates your trust in divine guidance. Repeat to yourself, even if it costs, I sow with conviction. This attitude changes your mindset and, over time, yields results that surprise, renew, and strengthen the journey to financial freedom. Often, emerging from a financial crisis requires more than trying old solutions, it requires a change of course. There are paths that seem right but lead to stagnation or failure. Recognizing these patterns and being willing to take a new direction, even if different from what you expected, is essential for transformation. This courage paves the way for financial miracles and a life aligned with your eternal purpose. Breaking cycles isn't easy, as it requires humility to admit mistakes and the strength to abandon old habits. But it's precisely this decision that renews your mind and spiritual structure, preparing you to receive what God has in store. Wanting isn't enough, you must act with faith in the right direction, trusting that renewal comes with divine wisdom. Start by identifying which thoughts and behaviors need to change, and set clear goals to follow a new path. Declare with conviction, "Today I decide to change my direction under divine guidance." This change not only transforms your finances but renews your spirit, preparing you for true debt freedom. Financial transformation begins within the mind. Renewing the mind is essential to breaking patterns of scarcity and making room for a prosperous mindset. When we change our thoughts, our decisions change, and this directly impacts our financial destiny. Divine wisdom calls us to this profound and necessary change. Many people get stuck in limiting beliefs that block the flow of abundance. These thoughts need to be replaced with spiritual truths that strengthen and guide. Meditating on biblical texts, such as Romans 12 verse 2, and repeating activation phrases helps realign focus. This daily practice shapes a new way of thinking and acting on money. To begin, try writing down your negative thoughts about finances and rephrasing them in positive terms, aligned with divine guidance. Read books like Think and Grow Rich to reinforce this shift. Tell yourself, my mind is aligned with the divine plan. Thus, debt freedom becomes a natural consequence of a renewed mindset. True prosperity arises from consistent daily habits, not from sporadic actions or fleeting luck. Small actions taken with faith, such as starting the day with prayer and organization, create a solid foundation for financial miracles. When your routine has purpose, money begins to flow more easily, as everything is aligned with divine direction. The Bible reminds us that wealth acquired little by little multiplies. This means that patience and persistence are essential ingredients. It's not about big hits or sudden gains, but about the daily cultivation of attitudes that reflect a prosperous mindset and a conscious use of money. This gradual construction generates lasting results. To implement these routines, try setting aside 10 minutes in the morning to read a spiritual passage, plan your spending, and pray for wisdom. Use phrases like, "My habits reflect my faith," to strengthen this commitment. Over time, these small rituals will become the spiritual framework that supports your financial growth. The people you connect with directly influence your financial journey. Being around those with a prosperous mindset, who seek divine wisdom, strengthens your own faith and actions. On the other hand, toxic relationships can hinder your growth and disrupt the spiritual structure you're building. Choosing your connections is a way to sow with purpose. The book of Proverbs makes it clear that those who walk with wise men become wise. This isn't just spiritual advice, but a practical strategy for prosperity. Joining groups, communities, or even friendships that inspire and challenge you to grow makes all the difference. Building alliances with vision and purpose creates a fertile environment for financial miracles. If you want to take the first step, seek out people who share your values and goals and who can help you along your journey. Declare, God connects me with people who motivate me. With these connections, your prosperity mindset gains strength, and the path to debt freedom becomes clearer and more accessible. True prosperity isn't just about accumulating possessions or money, but finding a purpose that goes beyond the material. When your focus is on what's eternal, your relationship with money changes. You understand that being blessed means blessing others and building something that lasts. This brings peace and meaning, and turns financial miracles into life-changing experiences. The biblical text warns that those who trust only in their possessions can fall. This reminds us that wealth without purpose can be empty and fleeting. God's direction calls us to invest our time, talents, and resources in something that transcends the present. This restored mindset creates a solid spiritual structure that supports debt relief and income multiplication. Start by reflecting on the impact you want to make on the world and align your finances with that calling. Declare with faith, my prosperity is serving an eternal purpose. When money becomes a tool to achieve this greater plan, it ceases to be a problem and becomes a faithful partner on the journey of transformation. It's time to understand that your current financial situation doesn't determine your future. Every decision you make today is a seed that can transform your life in the coming months and years. And believe me, the financial miracle begins when you choose to act with faith, wisdom, and purpose. So, I invite you to reflect, which of these principles do you already apply? Which deserve more attention in your life? What would your routine be like if you embraced this prosperous mindset and divine guidance? Transformation begins when you decide to step out of the ordinary and invest in yourself. If this content touched you, leave a comment, share your experience, and join our community. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos that will guide you on this journey to debt relief and income multiplication. We're together on this journey toward eternal purpose and true prosperity.